My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome to the TBR Files, part 1, episode 1, I guess. I've officially hit 200 books on my unread TBR. We had eclipsed that a couple weeks ago because I've been hauling nonstop, and now we are fully in the throes of reading my TBR down. And that is the goal. With these TBR episodes, I want to dedicate this to kind of just reading down the TBR in whatever way I see fit every so often when I do these episodes. So we are currently at exactly 200 books on the unread TBR. I just read and DNF'd a book at 180 pages in. So I gave it a real good try because we're at 44% of the way through the book. And that is Devil House by John Darnielle. My reading for October has been absolute dog shit because all these spooky books that I really want to get into and really thought I would like, I'm really not loving. I don't like the way they're hitting. So anyways, that brings us to 200 books exactly on the TBR. I am currently reading a bunch of different things. I'm in the middle of, no, I'm not in the middle of, I just started the Jasad Crown. I have like 80 pages in, which I do want to keep going with. I also am 40-ish% of the way through The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chima, which currently in my current reading mood, I am so close to DNFing because I just could not give a shit. But I did tell myself that I would give this a proper try. So I'm going to come back to it tomorrow, give it a proper try again, see if I can get another 50 pages down, see how I feel, reevaluate. I bought at the local children's book fair that I had, there was a pop-up for the Children's Hospital book fair. It was a sci-fi fantasy. I bought 3 more Cinda Williams-Chima books. The 2 sequels to this, so book 2 and 3 to the series, and also the first one to another one of her series. So if I don't like this book, that purchase was useless. So I'm like, even though I'm not liking it right now, 205 pages in, I really would like to give this like a full try to see if any opinion of mine changes by the end, to see if I would want to give book 2 a try, you know? But I just don't know if I'm not in the mood for this right now, and that's what's not working. So we're gonna come back to it tomorrow and reevaluate. But for TBR episode number 1, I want to find something in this episode that I am actually going to enjoy reading. Because my entire spooky TBR that I had, most of my spooky TBR that I had for October has been a bust. The only books that have been genuinely good in October have been rereads. One reread was The Jasad 4 stars, and the other reread was The Haunting of Velquid, which is a 5-star of mine from last year. Nothing new for October has been great. I think the best book, other than that, was The Possession of Alba Diaz, which I gave 3.5 stars, and I think is my least favorite Isabella Cañas book. And there's a lot of like 2 stars, mid vibes, you know what I mean? So I would really like to find something that I want to read, that I want to read and that I enjoy reading that is not a reread, i.e. actually reading down the TBR, of course. I have 3 options that I'm like, these are the next 3 things that I would like to try. So I think we're going to try these 3 in this video and we're going to see what happens. Very different vibes, each one of them. The Pallbearers Club I'm losing all faith in, because this was also part of my spooky TBR. Knowing that I don't actually think it is like a spooky thing, it just has like an interesting flavor. Grady Hendrix blurbs the back saying, "The most beautiful and heartbreaking funeral I've ever been to in a long time. The Pallbearers Club is melancholy, funny, and very cruel, but you won't regret in carrying this coffin." And it's like, it's full of like marginalia, which is like, there's a story happening and then there's a story in the marginalia, which I think is really cool. So I would really like to give this a try, but I have very, very, very low hopes because the spooky TBR has just not been working. So I think I'm going to give it one last try with the Pallbearers Club before the end of October. And then I have another spooky book that is gothic, which is an Aardvark book from the Aardvark book box, which is All of Us Murders by KJ Charles. And this one, I think and I hope is going to be right up my alley because it's gothic, haunted, spooky house vibes, queer. Maybe that's what I've been missing. Maybe I need to go for a queer book. And it literally says, "Who will survive Lack-a-Day House?" Like, this sounds so fun, and this cover just fucking stunning. So I have hopes, and they are high for this book. And then a complete 180 because maybe I just need to completely 180 and go to a completely different genre. I have a cozy fantasy. I have The Keeper of Magical Things by Julie Leong, which is her latest release. I didn't fall in love with The Teller of Small Fortunes. Like, I enjoyed it. I think it was a good, solid, cozy book, but I am very excited about this one because it's sapphic and it has cat dragons. Cat dragons! Literally, what else could you want? So maybe I just need to completely divert and go to something different. So we got lots of options for this TBR episode. We're going to try shrink it by at least one book, hopefully 3, so we get down to 197 by the end of this episode, but we will see what ends up happening. It could be more than that because I could decide to DNF that Sid and Williams Chima. Anyways, welcome to episode 1 of the TBR Files. That's what we're calling, maybe, I don't know if it's the TBR Files. I think it's just because I've been watching a lot of Ghost Files. Maybe I need to change it to the TBR Sidequest. I like that because I've been calling like my little writing side quests, like when I was doing like the exploration of Project Mummy and Project Glass. Those are my writing side quests. This is my TBR side quest where we are doing little episodes here and there of just shrinking down the TBR. Granted, this is also going to encapsulate updates on like where I'm at in like regular reading. So you guys know I have my reading vlogs. So whenever you see a TBR episode, I will keep it as up to date as possible within the context of everything else on my channel. And whatever else I end up reading and doing to shrink the TBR. These episodes would just be like a concentrated effort to shrink the TBR actively right now because 200 books is ridiculous. And I didn't say it at the beginning of this video, but my goal is to read down my TBR to 150 books before I let myself buy another book. That doesn't include any pre-orders. So I did get my pre-order for The Isle in the Silver Sea in this past week. And I also have some pre-orders in November coming to me and then 1 in December. So I have, I believe, 2 in November and 1 in December. So there's 3 more books in 2025. And then in 2026, I have like 1 a month or something. Like it could be 3 more up until like March-ish, which is when I anticipate having this challenge completed because reading my TBR down, reading library books, reading potentially like book club books and things on my Kobo, like that kind of a thing. I'm not just exclusively reading TBR books. I'm just also not bringing any new books in except for the pre-orders and potentially an Aardvark book box book if Aardvark intrigues me enough and has a book that I'm like desperate for on their list, which is released every 1st of the month. So I will know Saturday if I want one of their books from Aardvark Book Box. I've been very into figuring out their like clues and stuff. This past one, they did like one of those, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a grid where they have like, they had like genres and then they also had job titles. And then they had like a list of clues that came with it and you have to like decode stuff. Kind of like, I want to say Myrtle. Like that book has like those kind of puzzles in it. I was very into it and I took like a half hour to do it the other day at work when I was teaching because I had a break. And then I like posted my finished thing and they said it was so close. So I don't know what I got wrong, but I'm excited to figure it out and see what they have for the actual books. Anyways, total side tangent. Welcome to the video. I think this is going to be a good little reading vlog focused on shrinking down my TBR and talking about some books that I read. So I'll check in when I got something more read and what I choose to work on first, if I have any news. Hello, friends. Happy November 1st. I have reading news. Since I last talked to you, have finished 2 books, which I'm very happy with. It is now, as I said, November 1st, and I finished one last book in the month of October that wasn't a fail. And I realized in the last clip I said that the Isabel Cañas was a 3.5 star, and that was like my next highest rated. That one is not a 3.5 star. It is a 3 star. I got it mixed up in my brain with Salt Crop. So at that time, it was Salt Crop was my highest rated book, and I was still very disappointed with that one. Anyways, you can go watch my October reading vlog for all the dirty details and all the reading. Anyway, so I did finish one last book in October, and that was The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay, which is on this TBR, like this little mini TBR for this TBR episode. And I really liked this. I liked this. So the general consensus of books that I have finished since I last talked to you is I liked this. So actually, hold on. There we go. That's better. You can actually see me now, not so backlit. It's atrocious quality because it's dark in my apartment, but that's fine. Actually, you know what I could do? I can turn you this way. That's probably better. That's much better. This is much better. Okay. So yes, read and finished The Pallbearers Club, which is awesome. And I'm gonna kind of leave my thoughts mostly out of this because I did read this in the October vlog, and I did talk about it a lot in the October vlog. I enjoyed this. And this is another book that I think is not for everybody. It is also grossly mismarketed as a horror book. This is not a horror book. This is, as Books and Lala described it, is like watching an indie film that two friends made whilst you're listening to a vampire slasher from like the next theater over, kind of like boom, 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 boom through the walls, you know? That's the level of horror that you're getting in this. It is very, very nothing. The most horrifying thing in here is the descent into slight, I wouldn't even say madness, like, it's just the full realization of this man's psychosis almost. Like, and you could even argue that he's not even going mad in this book. It's just, it's gentle, it's slow. There's so many reviews that say like nothing happens. And yeah, nothing really happens, but it's kind of fun. And it was really well written. And I love the way that Paul Tremblay played with marginalia in this. Like having the memoir, come here, you're just going for my Chinese food. You don't get any Chinese food. You get a snuggle against your will. But if you eat that, you're gonna die because it's too salty. Too salty for a baby. Yes, okay, you can go there. Or that way, sure. Like there's the memoir, this is a fictionalized memoir written from the fictional character, changed his name to Art Barbara. And it's him documenting like this one like monumental year in his life and then like the after effects of that. It's his descent into having written this book for like 7 years for multiple, anyways. And he like left this book on his friend's desk, and that's who we meet through this. He names her as Mercy, that's not her actual name, but she then goes through and marks it up with red pen. So she makes comments on the stories. She kind of casts the whole story in a light of like, oh, he's fictionalizing this event, like he's dramatizing it. It's not real. This is more of a novel than a memoir. Like she's very adamant the entire time that this is novel, not a memoir. And then like the whole time I was just like, oh, is she just trying to hide who she is? Like this whole kind of a thing. Like man's like, maybe he's correct and maybe he's like actually telling the truth. But then she's shining a lot of truths about the state that Art was in when she meets him in this narrative. And she's like, no, he was like fully like substance abuse, he was addicted to narcotics, he was all this kind of stuff due to various reasons, but he never said anything about this kind of stuff. And he definitely lied about his substance abuse in many different kinds of, in different instances and whatever. And she fully just calls him out on it in her red pen. And so it's really interesting because it is like two unreliable narrators. Like it's one very much unreliable narrator, Art, telling his story. And then also, we have Mercy coming in with the red pen, and it's also like, but who do we believe? Because she obviously doesn't want him saying some stuff about her, and she wants to correct that, but why? So yeah, it's very interesting, and I liked this a whole heck of a lot. I think if it was just Art's memoir, I would be bored out of my fucking mind, but having Mercy there to like add present day context to stuff and add in these like long written out things where she's talking directly to Art, and it's really interesting, and I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. And then today I finished this next one all in one go, and I also liked this one, which I'm happy about because it's my second Aardvark book that I have ever read, and that is All of Us Murderers by KJ Charles. This was pitched as like a gothic queer haunted house story, and it sort of is. I would argue though that like the house is not a character, and I wish it was. Like I wish it was more atmospheric. I wish it was more of a character. I wish that gothic level of haunting genuinely did come through more. Like it is there are elements of it, but it is very obvious that like sure, like ghosts could be at fault here. I didn't know where the author was really going with some of the statements that they were making with like the story and our main character not believing in ghosts and that kind of thing. I'm like, okay, like it could actually be ghosts, or it could be that they're getting fucked with. And it was never like genuinely believed that the house was haunted. It was just like, oh, okay, like there's someone trying to fuck with things here. At least that's what our main character thinks of, right? But this whole time, Zebedee, who's our main character, he is brought back to this house by a distant cousin that he's only met like once as a child. And when he gets there, he realizes that one, his ex-lover who he got fired from a job is like a pseudo butler assistant guy. I don't actually know. His secretary? I don't know what his role is, but he's hired by his cousin Win. And Win has invited Zeb there, Zeb's estranged brother Brom there, a cousin, and then there's also a couple other players like Brom's wife who hates Brom, and then there's another girl there who is Win's, like, he spins a whole story about her. It's like she is his childhood friend's bastard daughter, and like all this, I don't know. So it's a cast of characters. Zeb is like, what the fuck am I doing here? I really don't want to be here. This is not what I was expecting. Also, the fact that my ex-lover is here, not a fan, because he hates me and all this kind of stuff. So it's this family who is just awful. Like, they're all awful, except for Zeb. Zeb's actually quite wonderful. ADHD king. Like, it is so clear in this whole book that that man has raging ADHD. It is never said that he has ADHD, because at this time, this historical book, that was not a term, right? He's just like, he's constantly fidgeting. He's a little forgetful and all this kind of stuff, but like the way that his family treats him is that he's this like lazabout, he's worthless, he's useless. Like, he's even called useless, like as like a nickname by some of the household staff that he overhears. Like, he's a neurodivergent queer man in this time where like being queer was considered a crime that would get you hanged, right? So it's him trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, because there's some mystery about this house. This house is supposedly haunted. It was built on the ruins of an old monastery, according to the girl Jessamine, who they are all brought here to, like him, Zeb, Brom, his brother, who is already married, and then Holly, who is their like cousin or whatever. They are all brought here because Win is like, okay, like, I've rescinded my choice to give all my inheritance for Lackaday House to your brother Brom because of this curse, essentially, on our family, on the Wickham family. Oh, there's also another guy there. His name is Wickham Dash, which is interesting that his first name is the same as all of their last names. Anyways, he's there for some fucking reason. Win is like, yeah, you're all here because one of you is going to get the inheritance by marrying Jessamine. And it's up to you to decide who gets to marry Jessamine and get my inheritance. There's also a curse in the Wickham family that everyone's supposed to die before the age of 50, all this kind of stuff. Jessamine supposedly believes that the whole place is haunted, like there's ghost sightings and like mysterious footsteps and all this kind of stuff. And it is like, Zeb very clearly does not believe in ghosts at the beginning, and he's like, okay, someone's fucking with me. Like, immediately someone's fucking with me. So it's this kind of creepy house, kind of creepy situation. No one knows who to trust. All at the same time, he's like getting back together with Gideon, his lover, and it was good. It was really solid, I think. The pacing was a little whack. The ending was weird. So it's not like a perfect book or anything. Like, I would say like 3.5, 4 stars. But I'm glad that I read this. I liked this. Again, it's another I liked this situation. So 2 of the 3 books that I mentioned in this video are now down. Also, I realized after I started this video that I had never put the Isles of the Silver Sea into my story graph. So we actually started this video at 201 books on the unread TBR, unfortunately. Unfortunately. But I have also no inkling to pick this up again. My hold on the audiobook lapsed, and I feel so bad because like I just don't care about the story. I've read 200 pages of this. I have tried. I kept saying, kept trying to convince myself in all my other vlogs and stuff that I wanted to read this in its entirety to see if it would convince me that I would like the series, but like 200 pages in, and if I have to do that to convince myself to read a book, I shouldn't have to do that. So unless one of you absolutely loves Cinda Williams' Chama's 7 Realms series, and you can convince me to keep going with this is going to be a DNF. So I think now we're at 198 books on the TBR. I don't know. We'll have to check the actual numbers, but there's one more book that I did say that I would like to try next at the beginning of this video, and that is Julie Leong's The Keeper of Magical Things. And I think this is going to be the next book that I pick up. So that's exciting, and that's wonderful. So yes, 2 books that I have liked, at least. So I guess the goal of this video was to find a book that I have liked and that I would like more than what I'd been reading in October. And you know what? We have kind of got there. We kind of got there with these 2. I did like both of them more than any of the other books I read for like brand new books that I read in October. So we did hit the goal. But we're going to finish out this vlog by actually finishing this 3rd book, and we're going to get down to 197 books on the physical TBR by the end of this video. Hey friends, it is officially November 3rd. and I want to pop in because I, have not started the other book that I wanted to read in this video, but that's okay. I'm going to be starting that later today. Was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, what if I go through all of my TBR books right off the top and we do a little baby cull off of the list so that we're starting this TBR escapade, the side quest, so that we're starting the side quest strong with setting up another video down the road. So here's the thing. I have done a little planning, a little brainstorming, if you will, for this TBR side quest vibes for each of the episodes of these TBR side quests, because I think that could be fun to do some that are like themed, if you will, themed a little bit. So I have one on here that is called The Chopping Block, which is reading a chapter from old books that I want to unhaul off of my TBR. So why not get ready for that now and like kind of see what ends up being on that chopping block, if you will. Also, I was thinking, because of the fact that I DNF'd officially that Cinda Williams Chima, I can take 2 of those books off this list, right? Because I do want to try The Warrior Heir still. I want to give that one a try, but the next 2 in the series that I was reading can be removed. So I am going to pull up my story graph, obviously, and we're gonna have a little scroll through and we're gonna see kind of what is going on. We're gonna kind of have a little look-see about books that I have on this list. So currently it says I'm at 198 books, but once we remove those 2 Cinda Williams Chima, also it's probably really loud for you, considering that there's probably a fan on my computer. So we're gonna remove Grey Wolf Throne and we're gonna remove The Exiled Queen, which is a little sad because I literally just got those in October, but you know what, it's fine. I bought them for the Children's Hospital Book Fair, and they're there for a reason. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna scroll to the very bottom of this and we're gonna start, actually, no, I'm not gonna scroll to the bottom. I'm just going to flip it around to earliest added. So when I originally made this list on Storygraph, I did it a couple years ago, I think. I started just on the bottom shelf of my physical shelves and started scanning them in. So it's not necessarily the oldest books on my TBR. It's just where I started on this list, generally, for the beginning. But it starts with The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. Do I give a shit enough about this? Is one of the ones that I'm just like, I don't know if I really care enough about these books particularly, because I did enjoy the first one. I did enjoy Justice of Kings, so I do want to give the second book a try, which is The Tyranny of Faith. It's literally dusty. That's how long it's been on my shelves. Oh my god. So I did like Justice of Kings when I read it, so I do want to try The Tyranny of Faith, and there is a 3rd book in this series that I do not own, but if I like the second one, I will be getting it. Anyways, so these are the ones I have. The only one of those would be The Tyranny of Faith as a potential unhaul. Another potential unhaul is another series that I'm just like, I don't know if I want to continue this, but it's The Midnight Kingdom by Tara Sam. I really enjoyed The City of Dusk when I read it. I just don't remember a lot about it. Oh, this is one of the ones that I did the annotations. So I feel like I did buy this like last year. So it's not like a super old one on my TBR, but I'm gonna have to think about this one. Because I don't know if I want to commit to DNFing it right now. Or not DNFing. I don't know if I want to commit to removing it off my shelves or giving it the taste test. My White Whale. I have tried to read this book so many times. This is the 3rd and final book. I'm 200 pages into this. The 3rd and final book in the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. I love The Wolf of Orenyaro. I really like the second one, but this 3rd one never had an audiobook released. There was never an audiobook made of it, and I hate that because I find this level of high fantasy hard to get through. Also, this typeface is so tiny. I'm gonna put this on this list. I don't want to unhaul it though. That's the thing, because I have no, I'm not putting it on this list. It'll go on a different list. You know what? These in my mental faculty brain of things, it goes on a different list. I do really need to read that though. I have a lot of like seconds in series that I'm just like, did I not read Feast for Crows? I thought I did. Oh no, that's book 4. I've read book 3. I have a lot of like George R.R. Martin's that I don't think I'm ever gonna read. So I'm gonna remove Fire and Blood off my list. I'm gonna remove A Feast for Crows and A Dance of Dragons off my list, because those are the only 2 George R.R. Martin's that I've never read out of the original series. And we're never getting a completion of that series. I'll have to go find those books because they're no longer on my shelves. I've literally like retired them to the bedroom. Okay, so we get into my Robin Hobbs. We get into Rhapsody by Elizabeth Hayden. I do want to try that. That's like old fantasy, so we're gonna keep that one. I think I'm gonna remove that Victoria Aveyard. Where did I put it? Over here. Because I do want to keep the Realmbreaker trilogy, but I don't think I'll ever continue with her first series. So we're gonna remove that off the TBR entirely. I'm not even gonna bother doing the read to see if I want to keep it. One that I do want to read to see if I'm going to keep it is Winter Keep by Kristen Cashore, because I love Graceling, which is the very first one. I like Bitter Blue, and I'm okay with Fire, but I haven't read any of like the newer releases in that series because those are from like when I was a kid. She started releasing more, so I'm gonna definitely put Winter Keep on this list of potentialities. So I'm gonna keep doing this and then I'll come back with a list. Okay, so where am I gonna put you? I'll put you right here, I guess. Okay, I have a huge stack. I've also just like gone through and pulled some regular books off my shelves that I have read that I just don't no longer want on my shelves. Mentioned Red Queen already, and we're pulling the Glass Sword off this TBR, so removing that one from the TBR completely. And then the ones that I'm just unhauling are the R. Shaw books that I have, and then Amari and the Night Brothers, because these are middle grades that I just don't really love. So might as well take them off my shelves and get them into the hands of kids who want them. Speaking of like kids books, I have a stack here of middle grades that are ones that I'm just like, I don't know if I want them anymore. So we're gonna do like a chopping block middle grades version, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. I have so many here that I can do multiple episodes of the chopping block. One of them is The Ogress and the Orphans by Kelly Barnhill, which I've heard amazing things about, but I just have never reached for it. I don't know if I ever will. So we'll try it on the chopping block version. I also have The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I know is beloved by many people. I tried to read it as a kid, never got into it, but that was like 20 years ago. So it's time. It's time we try The Golden Compass. I also have the third in the Aggie Morton Mystery Queen books, which I believe there's also a fourth and final one out there. I could be wrong. There could be more than that, but I really enjoyed book 1 and 2 and I just never got to this one. So I do want to try it to see if I'm interested in these mysteries anymore. This is by Marthe Joslin and it's illustrated by Isabel Folath. These are very cutie if you like fun middle grade mysteries. I also have some of the Rick Riordan Presents books. I have Tristan Strong's book 2, Destroys the World. Tristan Strong Destroys the World by Kwame and Bali. I have this one. I also have the second and third book in the Stormrunner series. I really liked the Stormrunner, the very first one of this. So I have high hopes that I will like these. I just need to somehow make myself read them. So this is great. And I did enjoy Kwame and Balia's first one, Tristan Strong, the first one. So I do have hopes that these are going to be like good, but I do want to give them a try because I don't know, I haven't been reading any middle grade recently. So, and I used to love it because I was writing a middle grade a number of years ago. But anyway, so those are my middle grades. I have also, of course, the Cindy Williams Chima the Warrior Era that I do want to try on this list as well. And one that is not actually YA or anything, it is adult fantasy, but it is by a beloved YA author, Cassandra Clare's Swordcatcher. Now, if there's anything I love Cassandra Clare's writing, because there's never been another book series or amount of books that I can read where I can read like 600 pages in like 3 hours. Like it is just so compulsively readable. She writes a fucking readable story, you know? So I don't know. And I know Julie did not like Swordcatcher or like wasn't super into it, but this is also a beautiful like special edition of it. This is a Fairy Loot edition of Swordcatcher. And this is a fucking stunning copy. Also, like, is Cassandra Clare canceled? I feel like she's always in some capacity canceled for something. So if she is, let me know and I just won't talk about this one, but I have this one on this list as well. And then we have a stack of like adult fantasies. I have Spelljammer Memories Wake by Django Wexler, which is a Dungeons and Dragons Spelljammer, like from their sci-fi, not imprint. It's one of their like story blocks that they released. I picked this up because I was like, yeah, Spelljammer, I'm so excited about that. And then I never actually got to it. I did get it for 20% off. So, and it's really little and it's a little sci-fi, so we'll try it. Another sci-fi I have that I picked up from a book fair a number of years ago is The Cruel Stars by John Birmingham. So this is an option. We have The Hexologist by Josiah Bancroft. I just don't know if I'm interested in that one anymore. We have The Shadow Glass by Josh Winning, which is something that I've pulled out for like 3 Halloweens in a row and have never actually gotten around to it. So I feel like it's time to like see if I need to chop it from my TBR or not. I also have Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Coopersmith, which I picked up a number of years ago because it was comped to White Horse. It has like similar themes of like family and stuff like that. I mean, no, it was comped to Bad Cree, not White Horse. Bad Cree. White Horse was also on that list. So we're gonna try this, I guess. I don't think it's my genre anymore, or at all, not anymore. I also have A Secret History of Witches by Louisa Morgan. I think I've read like one Louisa Morgan. These kinds of books usually work for me, but they're not books that I reach for. So there's that. I also have the next books in the Susan Dennard Truth Witch series, which we have the novella of Sight Witch, and then we have the next novel, which is Blood Witch, because I really liked Truth Witch. Didn't like the second one, so I never really continued with it. So this is my chance. I guess this is YA. I could have put it over there. And then of course the ones that I already talked about, the Winter Keep and then the Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. So I could keep doing this. I realized that as I was scrolling, I was like, oh, like I could do this taste test for many different things. But I think what I'm going to do is this is the chopping block version. Whenever I decide to do those, these are on the chopping block for being removed from the TBR. And if you think that I should read one of these first, vote for it down below. And maybe the next episode or the next couple episodes of this TBR escapades, the TBR Sidequest, if you will be of the chopping block variety. And then I also have another one that's called the Taste Test, which I originally wrote down just like new books. So trying a chapter of some of the new books and then picking one to read. Some of like the new releases or the new books that I brought onto my TBR. I think I'm just going to extend that to like taste test of like other books on the TBR that I'm like considering could be an unhaul, but like not to the level of the chops. I got lots of plans. I got lots of plans for this TBR escapades. And I think it's going to be fun for the next couple months and into next year. Anyways, this is me setting up for the episodes of this TBR Sidequest journey I'm going on to shrink my TBR, etc., etc. So anyways, removing those books off this list, I believe that brings us down to 195. I also have so many Wheel of Time books on here, and I'm at the point I'm like, should I abandon ship and remove all of those off my list? But this is just my brain going, I want to have as few books on this TBR as I can, so I just want to like cull it all down. But I did at one point want to completely read the Wheel of Time. So I'm not going to remove the Wheel of Time off my TBR yet. 192 books? That doesn't make any sense. What did I remove off this list? Editing Jenna popping in. I forgot that I removed the George R. R. Martins off this list. The tracker at the top is the most accurate. Sometimes you can't trust video, Jenna. You can always trust editing, Jenna, though. That's what my story graph says now. We're at 192 books on the TBR? Odd. Odd. 192 on the owned list now. Yay. Wonderful. Awesome. So we'll see where we get from here. But I do want to read that Julie Leong before I wrap up this video. But this is setting up for the next few TBR side quests. Let me know down below which one of these books that are potentially on the chopping block that you would like to see me read first. And I will put them potentially in the first episode of the chopping block versions of this TBR side quest. Anyways, that's the update for that. I'll catch you later when I have reading news. Hello friends, it is officially November 6th and I'm coming in to wrap up this vlog because I finished Keeper of Magical Things by Julie Leong, and this was an utter delight. Every second of this I just loved so much. It low-key reminds me of an idea I have for a cozy fantasy, for another cozy fantasy. I wanted to write something that was kind of a mix of the premise of Tales of the Shire and maybe something else, I don't know. But this just, it hit exactly correct. It follows novice Certainty as she is, you know, just trying to make a go of it. She wants to be a mage real fucking bad. She's been trying for 6 years, which is the longest ever because her powers are kind of useless in the eyes of the guild, and she can't like get any of her other spellcasting abilities to fucking do what she wants. So she has a very specific ability, and that ability is to read objects and like have conversations with them. She is just so wonderful. She also kind of has migraines because of this, because she, like, if she does it too much, she gets debilitating migraines. But she doesn't really like, it doesn't really like, you know, present itself as like a chronic illness in the book or as something that she needs to like grapple with or manage. It's just something that happens to her. So, or as a side effect of her magic. So there is that. Also, total side tangent, I made sourdough discard cookies today. They're so fucking good. I've already eaten 1.5. So I'm gonna have the other half, if you will, with some ice cream that I got from the grocery store today because I made these with sourdough discard. And the batch I should have cut in half. Holy shit, it made so many cookies. This is 24 right here. I have another 24 in my freezer. Because I don't have the need for that many cookies. They're gonna go bad if I, you know, even this amount is too many for just me. So I'm gonna have to give them to my friends, you know. So anyways, I made sourdough cookies. Love that for me specifically. And I'm gonna have ice cream with it. But yes, so the Keeper of Magical Things. Certainty has this power. She wants to be a mage. She isn't. She gets offered this opportunity to go to this little town of Spelling that is an entirely unmagical town. It is like the least magical place you can go. She gets this opportunity to go to Spelling with a bunch of magical artifacts that the guild is trying to find a space for because they're currently overpowered with it, and it's causing a... That went right between my oven. Shit, at least it's reachable. Okay. All right. Fucking Christ. All these magical artifacts, there's like a surplus of them, and it's causing this like magical spillage, and it's becoming dangerous. So they need to get rid of a bunch of junk, quote unquote, like lesser magical artifacts that like won't do that much harm, but they just need to get rid of it because the magical energy is not helping. Anyways, Certainty gets tasked with this with a fellow mage or not a fellow mage because she's not a mage yet, she's a novice. She gets tasked to be like kind of like looked over, like the whole project needs to be looked over by a mage by the name of Aurelia. And Aurelia is known for being a bit of an ice queen. She's kind of the worst. She's very, very rude right off the top. She's kind of a bitch. She's kind of a raging bitch. But in the way of like, you know, she has like some reason for kind of like acting this way. Like she might not know, she might not realize what she's doing. I don't know. And so they're tasked to do this together. So they go to this little town of Spelling, and when they get there, the locals are like, fuck all of you for being here. Don't like this. They have no accommodations. They have to basically like clean up an old wheelhouse to just become inhabitable for them. They slowly start going through their job and whatever, and slowly get to know the town. And Certainty is from a town kind of like this. And so she knows how to deal with these people. She knows, you know, kindness goes a long way. And so she, you know, befriends the villagers, and she starts doing things for them and helps like breathe life back into this village. And it is just so wonderful. And it's also sapphic because of course when you have two women or two people in the same kind of tight spaces dealing with each other every day, they get to know one another, right? And they become friends, and it kind of hits Certainty kind of hard one day. Then she's like, oh shit, I'm in big trouble. Like no. So it was just so good. Oh my god, I liked this so much more than her first one. I don't know if I read the first one at a wrong time, but this one was just so perfectly up my alley. The cat dragon was perfect. Yes, it had the perfect level of whimsy. Our main character was wonderful. Yes to this. Favorite book of like the past month and a half. Like, this is so good. Thank God. Thank God. We came here and we found something that fucking worked. It worked. Fuck yeah. Okay. So not only have I read down my TBR by 3 more, I have also unhauled a number of books. I was editing this video today. I was calculating all of the numbers and everything and keeping track, and I'm down to 192 books on this TBR. And with finishing this one, it's 191. And also, I unhauled fully another book off my shelves today because I forgot it was there. I looked up today and I was like, I still own that? I'm never gonna read that. It was one of those moments. So I fully took it off my shelves. It was the sequel to The Diviners by Libet Bray. I really enjoyed The Diviners when I read it. There is no way in hell I'm finishing that series. But book 1 was enough for me. That was so many years ago. I'm just not interested in it anymore. So with that, my friends, after finishing 3 books and going through and DNFing a book, which thus led me to unhaul 2 more books and then go on my little culling spree on my shelves to pick out options for the chopping block episodes of my TBR Sidequests, and thus removing the 3 George R.R. Martin books, the 1 Victoria Aveyard, and now this Libet Bray. We are down to 190 books on the physical TBR. Oh, and that feels good, guys. It feels good. 190 books is a great place to be. Because I know with the 3 books that are coming to me for the rest of this year and the number of books at the beginning of next year, and who knows if I'm going to get any books for Christmas, shit's going to happen. But we're going to see where we get in the next episode of the TBR Sidequest. But for now, I did achieve my goal of finding a book I really, really enjoyed and I liked more than I read in October, because honestly, all 3 of these could count for that. I liked all of these books, and that's a fucking great thing. And I even loved one of them. I'm so happy. My reading is back on track. So yes, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me during this very first episode, the inaugural episode of the TBR Sidequest. And I will catch you in another one very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.